I'm going to be completely honest for a moment. I recorded myself playing some matches on Greatsword while simultaneously doing commentary. You know, talking about Greatsword and what it's about, right? Yeah, that's really hard to do well. Props to the people who can do it, though. I'll admit that I don't have complete confidence in what I'm saying a lot of the time, so I end up stuttering and saying and a lot. So the weapon analysis videos would be similar to legend analysis videos, where I show off some gameplay of it along with some info about the weapon. So let's hop straight into it. When Greatsword came out, it stunned the whole world of Brawlhalla and even broke it for a while, at least until Magyar's release. Now it's not really played by many people, but those who decide to wield the weapon and know how to use it are absolute beasts. Greatsword is my third best weapon in Brawlhalla probably. Katara's and Spear beat it for sure, but I love Greatsword to death, for the reasons that a lot of people love it as well. Let's jump into its moves first. I'll try to explain it as greatly as possible. Each ground move, neutral light, side light, and down light have its own opener, bridge, and finisher, and these can change for each different move you do. For example, you can do neutral light, side light, down light, side light, down light, side light, down light, and I think that's it. I'm not kidding, they go on and on. The same goes for side light and down light as well, so that's what makes Greatsword fun. There's a ton of different types of versions of each grounded move, which allow you to do a ton of different combos. A lot of people may think it doesn't take a lot of skill to use, but you have to take in consideration that a lot of Greatsword's combos are dodgeable. Greatsword Nair is a pretty quick and simple move for keeping your opponent in the air and even kills quicker than recovery sometimes. Sair is pretty slow, so be careful when using it. It's the worst aerial move on Greatsword in my opinion, but not horrifically bad. It has good force. Dare is great off stage, you can dare someone so many times and confirm them dead very quickly. There's also a grounded version for each aerial move that can also go with its grounded kit as well. Recovery is slow but covers a pretty big area, and it's good for roof kills along with Nair. And ground pound is also really slow, and even Dare might be better at times because it's much quicker and safer to use. But throwing ground pound into a grounded combo is a pretty fun thing to do too. Now, what are the main reasons people like Greatsword? Well, there's a ton of reasons people would like a weapon. For a Greatsword, I think it's the creativity in the weapon. Of course, there's all the weird types of attacks that I just listed, but Greatsword is the only weapon in the game that has these types of features. A majority see disgust in this, but I think that makes the weapon also better. Legends 2 in general are really fun to use. I enjoy Jaehyun and Magyar to the ends of the earth, and even though I don't like Mako, her two weapons are still fun as well. I won't get into her because we haven't done a Mako analysis yet. There honestly aren't a lot of reasons people like Greatsword, so how about the reasons people dislike it? Well, there's a lot of those. Greatsword, if you didn't know, used to be super busted back around its release, and its full potential was shown at BCX 2020. It was a bit boring to watch, you could say, since every match was just Jaehyun, since Mako was a new legend and banned and Magyar wasn't released yet. Although, when Magyar got released, the biggest Greatsword nerfs came in. Almost every attack got a nerf, making the weapon incredibly slower. If you have the ability to, I would suggest going to an older version of the game before Magyar came out and trying it out. It's really fun. Either way, people likely don't like the weapon because they hated it so much when it was popular and was glad it got nerfed. Or they used to main the weapon when it was OP, and then it got nerfed and they left to go to the next meta. Although the big gamers who are Greatsword gods stayed on Greatsword and continue to get better at it. Not only that, but all the confusing stuff about Greatsword, its different versions of attacks and such, may be offsetting to a lot of players. Most other weapons are much more simplistic in design. Neutral light, side light, down light, Nair, Sair, and Dare, and some have grounded versions of the aerials. A lot of players wouldn't want to bother with learning Greatsword. No, I'm not a teacher or anything, but I'm going to try to give the best tips I can for Greatsword. Tip number 1, dash canceling. It's something you've got to learn in order to play Greatsword to its full potential. You can do a chase dodge too, but dash canceling is quicker and more fun. It's basically when you hit an opponent, input down, and dash as soon as your first hit is done, then attack immediately afterwards. That's the best I can explain it. I don't know the exact terminology to even explain how to do it 100%. But I'm sure there are some Brawl YouTubers who can explain it much better than me. Tip 2. Use openers like Downlight Neutralite and Neutralite Downlight. I found these two openers to be very useful. I think now they're jumpable, so you're forcing a dodge out of your opponent. But of course, if you hit your opponent when they don't have a dodge, then bam, free combo. Tip 3. Don't try to spam hit clearly when your opponent has dodged out. It's something I do too, don't worry, but if your opponent dodges out of a hit, you want to be able to react quick enough to dodge a counter attack or just refresh for a sec. If you hit a downlight and your opponent dodges, you don't want to be doing another neutral light afterwards, or they're going to get a free hit on you. Tier list wise, out of S, A, and B, I would place Greatsword in A tier. I don't think it's completely underpowered, and I also don't think it's completely busted. Not anymore anyways. But it's a pretty balanced weapon when you look at it in detail. Maybe could use like a tiny buff, but that's about it. Most of its attacks aren't true, and even if some of them are, they're really precise. A lot of times enemies can straight up dodge upwards too, completely ruining a grounded Greatsword combo. Of course you can go and hit them with a nair or recovery for example, but even then it's still really tough to play the weapon well. Playing by spamming random buttons and doing no dash cancels at all may work in lower ranks, but as you rank up it's going to become harder to do, and eventually you'll want to learn the more hard but more worth it Greatsword tech. Seriously, I don't see why people dislike it. I mean, people like Scythe for being unique, and when Greatsword tries to, it just gets shut down. I mean, I sort of get why, but it's just weird. I guess Scythe was underrated too when it came out as well. Either way, I would say try out Greatsword. If you're anywhere near Plat or higher, I'm sure you could learn how to dash cancel easily. And you could find some really neat success in the weapon too. Trust me, it's fun. I don't know I'm a Queen Eye main and say that she's fun, but just trust me on this one, please. Either way, thanks for watching this first weapon analysis. Legend analysis will come back next week and so forth until I decide to do another weapon analysis. Whenever that is. Either way, suggest a legend, and of course, keep on brawling.